host, Ariel.
And Abigail.
Yay! We have a wonderful friend with us today. We met them through our Plain Air server, which is like, I would say, a sister server of the Post Art School Discord.
Yes.
Like, everyone is just somewhere. But yeah, we have our friend Nat with us. Hello!
Yay!
Hello!
Welcome, Nat. Would you like
Thank
to
you.
introduce yourself to the listeners of the podcast?
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm a Mexican illustrator, animator, character designer. I like to do a lot of things. Based out of Chicago. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're so happy and excited to have you.
Thank you.
It's gonna be a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I guess it's I feel like I'm rusty. For those who this is your first time listening, we have little corners sprinkled throughout our podcast, and the first one we start off with is the pitch corner, and it's where our guest pitches themselves, but with a twist. They pitch themselves either through a rap or infomercial or spoken word or Broadway or ASMR, anything. You can do anything. What do you have prepared for us today, Nat?
I thought I would just go with the infomercial route. I don't think I'm particularly voice musical, so that seemed like the easiest thing.
We rarely have infomercials now. Everyone seems to like really do rap.
The rap.
Yeah.
We haven't had a musical person either. Oh, that is kind of scary.
It sounds very stressful.
But yeah, take it away. You can start whenever you want.
God. Yes. Okay. All right. Have you ever been making a funny little world with a bunch of funny little guys, and you kind of stopped and you thought to yourself, hey, I think this could be funnier. Something is missing. Something is not quite right. Well, look no further than me, Natalie. Come to me for all your funny looking guy needs. I can do worms, I can do frogs, I can do literally any kind of blob shaped thing you can think of. And also human shaped things. But, you know, I'm in the business of funny, so I could do anything for you as long as it's funny.
Yeah!
Yes!
Love that.
Thank you.
Love that.
I will definitely call the number. 1-800-FUNNY.
1-800-FUNNY blob.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that's what I honestly love about Nat's work. Like what Nat said in her infomercial, like I always associate it with blob shapes. Any blob, any frog shaped thing I will see, I'm always like, Nat.
Yeah.
I feel Nat's presence.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like in our industry, there's like so many shows with funny little shaped people or frogs or like worms, and I'm like, look at Nat's work. Look how charming it is. She can fit right into your production, whatever it is, and make it super cute and funny and awesome to look at.
Thank you. I like to think that I see a funny shape and I have to put a face on it. That's
fun. Yeah. That's always fun.
Like, if you guys, I don't know if a lot of you guys know this like little website called Picrew, but it's basically where you can like make characters, I love Nat's Picrew so much because it's basically like a little worm, little caterpillar character that you can make, and it's so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will definitely share your Picrew with everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should make a Hey Hire Us Picrew.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we should.
That would be cute.
We should do that. Let's do that.
A little mascot.
But I think even like looking at that, I feel like you can just tell how much care Nat puts into every single thing that she does, because it was like really well done and super funny and very enjoyable to flip through and to create a creature with. And I don't know, I just like everything Nat touches is so charming and funny and like a joy to look at.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Especially her memes.
Oh my god. I love memes.
Don't we all? We also love memes.
Oh my god, yes.
As you can see, everyone's but yeah, I just like even look, I feel like Nat, like I said, Nat puts so much thought into everything she does, and like even when you go to her website, there's like little worms that like pop up, and like follow you as you scroll through. And it's something that a lot of people don't really have on their website, and it's like just like an extra little step that makes it really special. And I feel like that is just the definition of Nat's work. Like she always puts a little extra something, a little extra step to make her work even better and more memorable. And I'm like, that's what you want to have. Like a character designer or a story, you want someone who puts like a little extra thing that makes it a little more funny, a little more memorable, a little more heartwarming. And I feel like that's truly Nat's work.
Yeah, someone who could breathe in life into whatever they're creating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I like, I'm definitely not a character designer, but I feel like Nat has really good technical skills too. Just like her like stuff is really clean, and like I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, the turnaround is like over here, but I'm like, whoa, that looks really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm looking at your stuff again, and I'm like, oh, there's just like so much charm with all the shapes you use, and I'm just like, they're all truly friend shaped.
Thank you.
Yes.
I love friend shaped things. I'm always, whenever I see like cats or anything in real life, I'm always like, what's the shape of this cat? What can I glean in terms of shape information from the life around me?
Love that. That's
wonderful
how it
as a
should be.
designer. And I feel like Nat's just not good at cute things. Like I feel like she has some like really cool, like the guitar person. I love that illustration of the girl with the guitar. I think that was really cool.
Thank you.
And I just feel like your design sense is like really strong, and that's why you can fit into like so many roles. Yeah. And I know like there's not as many. I know that there's not as many storyboards on your site right now, but that is something that Nat's working on, and I've been like working with her as well, and I'm so excited for you guys to see what Nat is cooking, because I feel like just Nat's storytelling is so charming, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could totally imagine like your boards being like the blueprint for a TV show, just because like it's so cute, and like I'm dying.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's get into Nat's work. Let's dive in. First things first, I feel like this should be more of like Abby talking, because we know that Abby is the biggest comic enthusiast in here. But I mean, I've been trying to get myself into comics, and I love just like Abby said, the way you tell your stories, and it's just so relatable, and with the charm of your own drawing style. Like I don't know, there's just something so special about the way you draw your comics and tell your stories. And yeah, tell us about like the lockdown. How was that like coming about? How did you feel making that?
Yeah, so the comic on my website that I called Lockdown 1 or something.
Yeah.
So that was kind of coming. I had made a comic kind of around the start of quarantine that was kind of like very just quick and taking stock of my feelings, and then I think of several months later, still in quarantine, and I kind of wanted to take another stab at it, partially because I felt like my skills had come a long way already, kind of with the time I had on my hands all of a sudden, and I wanted to try something that I hadn't really had the time to do before, which was to really kind of sit down and like script the comic, and not just kind of do a quick like just square panels, throw it on Instagram, and we're done, but actually kind of take the time to sort through my feelings. I had just bought Lucy Nisley's comic, which I have sitting in my desk all the time because it's so influential. I got kid gloves, and I remember reading that, and it was really captivating to me the way that Lucy is able to just like convey through these stories of her life in such like a heartwarming and beautiful way. And I wanted to kind of take a stab at it, since like it's very influential to me, and that was, I wanted to try it basically, and yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So nice.
I remember that comic, I think, was one of the first things that I like saw of your work, and I think it might have been the thing that made me follow you, because I just I love like the colors and like it's just like it's so neat and really well done. Like you really did the limited color palette super well
Thank
on
you.
that.
Yeah, it was one of like the first things of mine to like blow up, so to speak. And I was really kind of surprised almost at the emotional reach it had. Like I think when I posted it, I hit a kind of emotional chord that a lot of people were feeling that I was not expecting. And it was one of the first times that I really saw that like um the response and the interaction that people were having, like in just the replies underneath the comic. Like it was really, it was cool to see. It was overwhelming, but really really cool to see people kind of sharing their own experiences with similar emotions and stories. Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel like the other comic on your site, like Goodbye 2020, kind of is in the same vein
Yes.
of really connecting to how a lot of people thought of like last year, and also it's still in a very charming style that it's like the style that mirrors a manga, like a
the Pop Team Epic panel.
Yeah, Pop Team Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
As well?
So that was coming at the end of 2020. That was my end of the year comic, and I was like, well, I have to do something. I did that other comic that was closer to the start of the year, and I was like, well, I should follow it up. But I was originally thinking of doing something in the vein of that first comic that I did, Lockdown, and the more I thought about it, I was like, that one is kind of a bummer. And I wanted to kind of end off the year on a funnier note, so to speak.
Yeah.
And and I wanted to do something a lot more lighthearted, and I play off of that in the first panel where like my first instinct was to make like a very sad introspective comic, and I was like, fuck that. Like I just want to make something stupid and dumb and talk about how I just really want a cat. And that's always something.
Sometimes
it
really be like that. Sometimes it's like that. Like, you know, not all of the stuff we have to make has to have like some like deep resonating meaning within us. Like I really feel that because like for me, a lot of my art, I feel like, oh, I have to like talk about an issue because I always like integrating like global issues into my work, but at the same time I'm like, I can just make something fun. I can make something, you know, more for myself. But
yeah, that's always something that like there's two wolves inside of me. One is really emo and wants to make like depressing stuff all the time, and the other one just wants to like make funny jokes all the time and just do weird little bits. And like I think it's just more fun to you can talk about a serious topic in a lighthearted way, and that's something that I've been learning, is that my voice as an artist is not really like serious as much as like my emo child wanted it to be. I gravitate more towards humor and kind of coping with dark things humorously. Yeah.
But that's what I love about your style. It's so good.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I love that this is so insightful, and that's why I'm glad you're on this podcast, because I just love, especially for comics, like storyboarding. I really love hearing about comics, and just like me and I are the same way.
Comics rule.
I just like I love hearing about the whole process, because it's such a beautiful medium of like, and it's so cool like the kinds of stories that you can tell through it. So thank you for sharing with us like the thoughts behind it. Moving on to more professional things that are on your resume, we've seen that you've done like different sorts of like jobs, from like graphic design and social media and character and story consultant. How was that experience of working with like an actual company and stuff in that process?
Yeah, so I do some work for like a nonprofit on the side, but then I think what you're referring to specifically, it wasn't for a company, it was actually for a band. It was a music video project that a friend invited me on. They wanted to do the idea for the music video was kind of this band like going through like different TV eras. And so they wanted to bring me on to help with the 80s animation, 80s style, like He-Man kind of stuff, and then
my
also
brain literally went like
Yeah, and then
Nuts.
also like a 90s anime kind of thing.
Oh,
Love
that's so
that.
cool.
Which both were really cool, and they provided a board for me to kind of go off of, but they were like, we just want to see a different take on it, and um, it was honestly a really cool project to do, and I love working in those styles. There was some struggles because that's a project that hit at the start of quarantine, and
Mm.
I it kind of tanked my productivity, and then
Mm.
thankfully, like, it was with friends and they were really patient with me and very kind through the whole process. But at the end, I was able to kind of put something out that I was really proud of. It's not on my portfolio, but I really liked making this like Rambo style He-Man character. I don't draw a lot of men. Um,
Mood.
and
Honestly.
yeah, and so it was kind of just like cool to do something in that really like aggro manly style
Mhm.
for a second. It was cool to kind of step out of that comfort zone that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
must have been so fun. I want to work on a music video. I don't know
Yeah.
if I can animate because I refuse to animate at this point. But I'm like, I want to work on a music video.
Yeah.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, a friend helped me out with like animating it further.
Mhm.
But I kind of like laid that base down for him, and then he kind of made the hair move and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of what I like, where it's like you move the things that I draw.
Exactly. Do you want to do this sort of thing like with more like bands then?
Yeah, music videos is something that really appeals to me. But I haven't really had like a lot of chances or the space to do them. It's a
Mhm.
lot of work. And so I would definitely want to like do it with like a team of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And with proper pay.
yes.
Anyone who's listening, please. It's so much work.
Yes.
And animated, I feel like there's more and more like animated movies that are coming out and like are becoming a real thing. And there's even like bands that are just their whole concept is based off like animated music
Yeah,
videos.
I think
Like
Love
Mysteries.
that.
Mystery Skulls,
Like,
Gorillas is a really
yeah.
iconic example.
Gorillas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think animation and music just goes hand in hand, really
Hand
in hand.
beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
really beautifully,
Yeah.
and it's definitely something I would love to dip my toes into, especially as someone with like, I was in orchestra for a really long time, and it's
Hey!
yes, and it's something that is really important to me, and I would love to reconnect with that.
Mhm.
I love that. I feel like your style would really fit any sort of music video, and just like I don't know, it'd be so cool to just see your worms like being
Just
animated
wiggling
and stuff like
around.
that.
Yeah.
So for this music video, is it out that
Is it out?
like on YouTube or somewhere we can
I'm
watch
not totally sure, actually.
I
I
want
would
to
love
see the
to
He-Man.
see
Oh my
it
God,
and
yes, I
see where it is.
I know that there were some delays. I don't think
Mhm.
it's up yet, unfortunately.
But when it comes out, we will
I'll let you know.
definitely tweet out about it.
How big was the team you worked with?
It was like 3 people.
Dang, that's small.
Yeah, it was really
Maybe
small.
that's why.
Dang.
And
Oh man.
but it's two guys that I went to school with briefly.
Mhm.
And they're really cool. Also very talented animators, and it was a fun project.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's fun.
I feel like did you feel like you learned a lot from working on this sort of collaborative project
Oh,
with other
yes.
people?
Yeah. 100%. I think it just kind of it kind of gave a really strong spotlight onto where I was struggling with work ethics
Mhm.
specifically, and how to better like communicate and organize. I really kind of struggled time wise with that project, especially considering that it was at the start of quarantine, and I was grateful to have
Yeah.
like the space to like make those mistakes and learn, and
That's awesome.
yeah, it wasn't like my best shining moment, but I ended up with work that I was proud with, and I think I learned a lot.
Mhm.
That's always
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of like how student films are, where
Yeah.
it's like kind of a place where you can make more mistakes than out in the job force. So that's awesome that you can make that sort of project with your friends. And I honestly, for people who are listening and they don't go to like a big art school or like a place where you have an animated thesis, you can definitely try organizing this sort of thing with friends.
Yeah.
So I would definitely suggest it.
Yeah, like animation jams and anything like that. It's super fun. Just to make something quick and fast and dirty with friends, and yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Moving on to your other project in the the biggest one that you're working on right now is Shrimp Chips working title, maybe.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Shrimp
Is
Chips.
Shrimp Chips, like, is it still the working title? Because honestly, I would watch a show called Shrimp Chips.
I think Shrimp Chips is the title that it's had for years now, and in my head, I'm like, there's no way that I can make something that is a fantasy series and call it Shrimp Chips, because that just doesn't make sense, and it's not really incorporated anymore into the series.
Yeah.
But so it's funny. It's been called that for so long that I can't stop calling it Shrimp Chips. So it might be easier to try to work it back in instead of trying to take it out.
Yeah.
That's true. I love it. You've been working on it as a graphic novel, but you're also open for like pitching it as an animated TV show as well.
Yeah, I think the big dream is to have the story be animated as a TV show. A big dream of mine is to be a showrunner. That is, it's something that I've wanted for a really long time. But a graphic novel is kind of the compromise I've made with myself. But I think it would be cool to make a pitch for it for animation as well.
I mean, if you're making a graphic novel, you can definitely take all those materials and what you have on your site and definitely easily make it into a pitch package.
Yeah.
And people sometimes pitch animated TV shows with graphic novel pages, so just gotta get.
I think the two are very tied together.
Yeah, they can go hand in hand. Do you want to go into do you want to pitch it to us and to the audience of and to any literary agents or editors who are listening? Yeah, give us the spiel.
Sure. So Shrimp Chips is the story of a young witch named Betty who is moving out of her parents' house for the first time and is headed to the big city to try and maybe find an apprenticeship, just make her own path. Her parents are very overbearing. When she gets there, all her plans for this new life are thrown out of whack when she discovers that her beloved frog familiar has been replaced by a secret frog wizard who is on the run from frog law. And the reason he's on the run is because he's been accused of attempting to assassinate the Frog King. And,
snap!
And essentially the ultimatum that he gives to Betty is that she has to help him clear his name, otherwise both their heads are on the chopping block for this crime of attempted assassination. And so I kind of love the idea of it being like a fantasy mystery kind of story where it branches out into you get to experience a really weird fantasy world and follow them along on their adventure as they try to uncover these secrets that kind of spider out into this web of conspiracy. And that's the heart of the story, I think. Is kind of seeing
that's so exciting.
Frog conspiracy.
Yes, all the way.
Literally the story I want to watch and read right now. I'm like, frogs, conspiracy, magic, yes.
Yes, I love it.
Thank you.
It looks so good too. I love the character designs for it, and I'm so excited because we talked about this in Tessa's episode, but we are all in the pitch club, and I'm so excited to see.
It is real now.
We're all working together on stories that we all care about, and I'm excited to see how they grow.
Yeah,
it's so awesome.
It's so fun listening to people and hear them talk about their ideas, and I don't know, it's just always fun because you get to see the excitement in their eyes and how they talk about it. I'm just my heart.
It's really inspiring to just be around other people that love to storytell and love characters and really are so thoughtful about the worlds they create, and it's really inspiring to be around that energy.
Yeah, and I respect everyone in there, and also we had our first meeting where we just presented what we're working on, and everyone just asked really, really good questions on the idea, the kind of stuff that you should be considering when writing a story, which I'm really bad at, of thinking of what the character's motive and like even just like really simple questions of like what age range are you going for? Because that's really
Yeah.
important when pitching your book. So
Mhm.
it was really cool.
Yeah, like I honestly hadn't really considered or thought it would be feasible in my mind to make a pitch for it to be animated until I kind of spoke to the group, because in my head I was like, well, it'll only ever be like a graphic novel, and it was really inspiring to be like encouraged by the group of like, you should just go for it anyways.
Yeah, do
Yeah.
it.
Honestly, but we mentioned it briefly earlier, but like even if you're not going to school for it, but
Mhm.
like just having that community around,
Yes.
it's so
Mhm.
important because it will really like motivate you to keep creating, and just finding your people is the most important thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yeah, that was something I was really worried about when like exiting college. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've always worried about like, will I still be connected with my friends, and will I still have like a community that I can like go to and grow with? And
Mhm.
I don't know if it was because of
Mhm.
quarantine, because of pandemic, that it kind of made the transition a little easier. But I feel like there's like a really great community that we have on Discord,
Yeah.
and it's really nice to just always talk to someone about
Mhm.
like some struggles you're helping with, like with art book, or just like, oh, this is my idea, and getting excited
Mhm.
about it.
Mhm.
So it was really cool.
I'm definitely like super grateful that like despite the world and despite quarantine, I finally have had the time to kind of I finally made a Twitter and started using the Twitter, and that's how I met all of you. And like I've been really grateful that I've like really found a community of like-minded
Mhm.
peers that are so invested in storytelling and want to uh even like just make the world a better place just a little bit in through like whatever
Yeah.
stories they want to
Yeah.
tell. And I love that truly.
Yeah.
And that's why you should hire Nat, because obviously she cares about all these types of stories and making the world a better place. And
Mhm.
you should add her to your community in a studio. Hello?
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It just makes my heart super, super warm. Just like, I love community, and I'm just very
Yes.
grateful for
Yeah.
everyone.
And I just want to encourage anyone. There's like, we've been saying this over and over. There's like a bunch of
Mhm.
discords, like
Mhm.
Open Animation, Rad. There's just there's even like Plain Air discords that like there's, I don't know. I need to link
Yeah.
that in a post. I'll probably do that next week. But you can definitely just keep on chatting with people, and those, I know those discords can be really
Mhm.
overwhelming and
Mhm.
huge, but if you like keep on talking with those same people, you can like make a smaller discord with those
Yeah.
people and just
Yeah.
like invite, and your circle can just grow and like
Or
become
start
tighter.
one with like some of your, if you're just on Twitter, your Twitter mutuals who you tend to be like
Exactly.
talkative with.
Just
And then that's
just
where one community starts. And then
Yeah.
they could like bring in people they know who are maybe interested in the same stuff you guys are in. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like even because like some mutuals you might not know at all, and you
Mhm.
might be a little apprehensive, but you can do, making study discords, I feel like, is a great
Mhm.
way of really connecting with people, either
Yeah.
do a pitch club or gesture drawing or Plain Air. Those are all really good community building discords that
Yeah.
you can use to get to know your
Mhm.
mutuals or friends better from social media. So I definitely suggest doing it.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, that's our words of advice for
Yeah.
this episode.
Go on Discord.
Yeah.
Use Discord.
Go on Discord.
Yes, use those resources. But
Yeah.
I'm so excited for your graphic novel. Now I'm so pumped to see how it grows, how the story grows when we get to see those sample
Oh my
pages.
goodness, yes.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna be like, oh yes.
Yeah.
God,
I have a few thumbnailed out,
Um,
so hopefully soon.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm
Oh, I
gonna
love
make myself.
comics.
I'm gonna make myself an honorary little shrimp chips badge and be like,
Yes.
goodness.
with like
Merch
clay or
ideas.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like shrimp chips.
I'll make a pen.
Yeah. If there's any literary agents
Mhm.
who are listening, or editors, or like publishing people, please go to Nat's website and look at the like little bits of the pitch, and email Nat to like talk it out and like ask more, because it's a really special story, and I would love to get it in my little grabby hands
Thank you.
one day.
One day.
One day. Yeah.
I guess we gotta slam the mood down. We gotta go down the roller coaster.
Oh,
Not as thrilling as going down like the hill of a roller coaster, but The question that we always ask in Hey Hire Us is, how's the job hunt going?
Well, bad, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit better recently, but
Yay.
yeah. Overall, bad, but looking up now.
That's
Yeah.
great to hear that it's
Yeah.
at least looking
Yeah.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
The job hunt roller coaster really is just like,
Oh
woo!
my goodness, yeah, all the time. All the time.
We truly need to make a graph, like a Hey Hires graph of the job hunt roller coaster,
Yeah.
because it is a time. It is
It's
a
tough.
lot.
It's like it's the stages of grief all the time.
It
Oh my
is.
goodness. Yeah.
What do you do to like help kind of just motivate you every day to like apply to things or to fix your cover letter or to work on portfolio stuff amidst all of this?
I think most of my energy has gone into my portfolio. I really struggle with cover letters and applications, just in general, especially cover letters. I'm somebody that needs a script for a
Oh,
lot of
man.
those like professional job hunting type of things, and it's hard to script for a cover letter since you don't want to copy what another person is doing.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've tried to put all like my heart and soul into making sure that my portfolio is beautiful and it gets across my personality, because my big fear is that I sound kind of boring in cover letters. And
Yeah.
so kind of what I've started to do is just try and focus on like connecting with people just through my work on Twitter, making sure that my portfolio like displays my personality and kind of not, this probably isn't the best advice applicable to most people, but I try not to worry too much about the contents of my cover letter, and just apply and try not to get too stressed. And if people like me, then they'll reach out, and I try to find other avenues because I find I really struggle with the traditional job hunting process.
Yeah.
I feel like that's great advice because I feel like the cover letter is honestly not the best way to get to know an artist. And I think when a recruiter opens up your site and sees giant worms springing over your work, they're like, okay, I can see what kind of person this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always struggled with like what to put in the cover letter, and my process really changed because in the beginning I was like, I gotta have a paragraph saying like how this company has changed my life, and then now I'm like, it's not there at all. It's just one paragraph talking about me. It's like intro, paragraph talking about me and what I do, and then bye-bye. Thank you for
farewell.
Yeah.
Thank you for reading this.
I was literally writing a cover letter this week, and I was just telling Abby, I was making Abby go through it. I was like, my old one looks so and sounds so sterile. I sound so boring in this one. It's literally not me. And it's just so frustrating because this is like the kind of format they always tell us to do. And I'm like, yeah, but if I do this, it's what everyone else is doing.
Yeah,
and I'm like, literally.
It's hard to stand out in that environment. It's always something I was really like would just beat myself up over, was that like this cover letter, it just sounds terrible. I don't sound like this. Like this isn't how I want to speak. I don't speak in this corporate jargon. And it's, I think at a certain point I was just like, I just have to let it go, and cover letters are my enemy, and I just have to be at peace with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather put my energy into making my portfolio look better, and also there are other ways that I feel like just contacting a recruiter like directly and being like, hey, I just like applied to this position, I hope you're having a great day, like, and just like trying to build a relationship like that would be a better route than a cover letter.
Totally.
But yeah, I feel like companies are realizing that cover letters aren't as important because there's more and more applications that don't require it. Yeah. And I'm like, thank you.
Yes, thank God. I think especially for artwork, like so many people on their websites already have like about sections and things like that, and it just feels it feels like a little bit more appropriate for just to let their work speak for them, and to like let people invest as much time as they want and need into portfolio and like building like a brand, so to speak, instead of like I'm gonna spend a day working on cover letters. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, like, especially like as creatives or us as artists, it's like the easiest way for us to communicate our like truest selves is obviously through our art. Unless you're writers, then good on you.
Yes.
But
Yeah, make that beautiful cover letter.
make that beautiful letter. But like for us, like it's so much easier for us to put our whole personalities into the work we create.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just put all my energy and all my effort into making my portfolio speak for myself, have so much of my voice into it, and
Yeah.
And I think, Ariel, the way that you're doing it is honestly a really good way of just like talking about the types of stories that you care about and like why you're making art, more than like, I did this for a company and it taught me team building. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I, honestly, like, it's weird. Like, I always feel weird whenever people ask me for portfolio advice, but all I just say is like, just show what kind of stuff do you like to see art-wise. What things do you gravitate towards, and then that's the stuff that you should be putting in your portfolio. Because if you're not happy with your own art, why would, like, I don't know, it's if I don't know how to explain it, but if you're not feeling the art you create, then it's gonna be so obvious to like other people looking at it, you know what I'm saying? But
it's like, there's a strategy of trying to go for the type of stories that are being hired, like that are like the type of shows that are being staffed up on, but I don't know, it's like you should do what makes you happy and what you are enjoying the most, because you're definitely eventually gonna find, I don't know, I love how we're giving all this advice, but I'm like, we're still unemployed. So who knows what, we're all trying our best out here.
I think for portfolio, for the longest time, when I started at school, I thought I wanted to do video game concept art, like Blizzard style, realistic, painted concept art, and I left school and I got super burned out, and then I kind of realized I hated that. And so when I was kind of rebuilding my portfolio now, it was one of those things where I was kind of balancing, all right, technically what do they need to see in the portfolio? And then also, what do I like? What do I have fun with? Because I think if I'm working on a portfolio, on what I see as a portfolio piece, and it's destroying my soul, I think it's gonna be obvious, and people will see it and they'll know, and like people can tell that you made something that you did not like. And I think with your portfolio, of course, like keep in mind what companies are looking for, but I think it's most important to just put out there the things you love. And especially with art, like that's so important, is being able to kind of show that you have this like heart and soul and creativity, and just do what makes you happy. And like it's competitive out there, and so like might as well make the one thing that is like creative and joyous, like not something that is miserable, you know, like cover letters I think are there to do that.
There you go. I don't know, I'm glad that you're definitely finding, I feel like as we do this more, we're finding more of a process that helps, like works with each of us. So I'm glad that you're on that path and cover letters aren't sucking your soul as much, because the job hunt, it already takes care of sucking your soul.
Like, I think like after every job application, I have like an instant panic attack, and it's like, okay, I know that I'm gonna be doing nothing for the rest of the day after putting this in.
It's weird. It's like when you apply for jobs, it's literally like your energy, like lifeline, literally just depletes by half, and you're like, I applied to 2 jobs. I'm done for today.
Like you take like 50 points of psychic damage, and you're like, all right, I'm out.
And you're like, peace out.
Bye-bye.
I mean,
do you have like wait, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, this was like just a perfect like way. It's like, what are your job hunt frustrations, like, you know, coming out? We can all go off on it a bit.
I think my biggest frustration was just kind of learning what the actual process of job hunting is for like animation industry, and, like, anything with like illustration and graphic novels.
Fair.
Because like before then, I was spending a lot of time. I didn't really have a lot of time to research it outside of what they told me in school, and and then kind of finally having the time to like sit down and refocus my thoughts. I was like, okay, they really don't tell you what you need to actually be doing before, like the whole process with recruiters, like agents I didn't know existed until like a year ago. All these kinds of things that I feel are kind of hidden away. It was frustrating to me to discover that all this time that I had spent previously applying to jobs, it kind of felt wasted almost. And
Yeah.
it's definitely like not fair to myself to say that. But it's frustrating that a lot of this stuff is very kind of hidden away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like it's really I think me and Ariel can connect to just finding out that a lot of the information that they teach you in art school does not apply
Mhm.
anymore, and it's like really frustrating because you put like how many years into your degree and you went to that school because they are like we are like leading the charge, we are like we know all the
Yeah.
information. And I wish that professors could understand that things are constantly changing in the industry, and it's like you should constantly be learning so that you can teach your students all the new
Yeah.
things. And that is the same thing with recruiting. And the resources are out there, especially after the quarantine hit, because there's so many talks. And you can
Yeah.
easily just go, especially the Netflix
Yes.
recruiters, they have so many talks on what they look for in portfolios. And you can definitely learn all that information online. There's people on YouTube, there's story artists and visitive artists on YouTube who show that what portfolio that got them into
Yeah.
the college, and some of those artists are the ones who are actually looking at portfolios, and there are threads on Twitter of those artists who are looking at portfolios saying here's what you should be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know.
No, yeah,
You should be on Twitter if you're a
Yes.
professor in animation. Is all I'm saying, because there's so much information that's always out there. At least for TV animation, it's like
Yeah.
definitely you should be on Twitter.
One of the
Always.
first resources I found was Micah Scherf. And
Yeah.
she was
We love
she
Micah.
was kind enough to actually look at my portfolio kind of towards the start of quarantine and pointed me in a very helpful direction of what I needed to focus on next. And it was really encouraging to see that there were so many people online that were just kind of willing to just give advice, and if you just like speak to them and are kind, and they'll be kind in return. And it was very heartwarming to see that people were trying to get that information out there. It was
That's awesome. She's super sweet,
Yes.
and she has a lot
Oh
of
my goodness, yes.
resources on like working in TV.
Yeah, highly
You will
recommend.
probably retweet it.
Yeah, I
on
highly
this
recommend
week.
her character design, like
Oh my goodness,
that entire
so
sheet
good.
document, because honestly, like while I was in school, didn't really get much of that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
I would look
and
at that
I-
document all the time.
Yeah, so like what you're like what you were saying about like frustrations is just coming out of all of this and then getting into the actual job hunt and then having it just not having what's been taught to you just be so way not up to date. I'm just like, wow, I just wasted so much time.
Yeah, like it kind of feels like, oh, like no wonder they weren't getting back to me. Like,
Yeah,
my
right?
portfolio was not at all what it needed to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why I made the Google Doc for all the resources, because it was out of frustration of like knowing that there's all these resources online, and it's like I want to make it easier for people, because you don't need to go to art school if you can't afford it. And I mean, it's a touchy subject because like for international students, they need to go try to maybe find a cheaper one maybe, but if you don't have to do that because you're blessed to be born in the US and you're privileged enough to be born here, and just definitely look into going to community college and then finding all the resources online, because like there's so many classes.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So yeah,
so many things online now.
Yeah.
But yeah. Before we kind of like wrap this up and like go to the final corner, are there any like other final dream, like this is I think we added a new corner because of this year, a manifestation.
Honestly, yeah, we've been mentioning
manifestation
every episode since
especially
January 1st.
Oh my goodness.
Like literally, I'm like, what is everyone manifesting today?
What? We are not here. Your manifestation station dream should not just be getting a job. What is like just like, I know you want to do be a showrunner, but what else? Like the sky's the limit. what are some other things you want?
I would honestly genuinely love to do like a gallery show at a museum.
That is so
Yeah,
cool.
I
Oh my
love-
gosh, wait, sorry. I just thought of like, oh my gosh, an entire show of Nat's like worms.
The worm. There would be an archway, a worm archway where you go in.
Exactly. I love art museums, and I love specifically fiber art. On my wall back here, there's some weavings that I made. For it was
that's so cool.
a friend of mine did like a little mini gallery showing, and that's where that exhibited. And it was a comic in weaving form, and
Oh, cool.
like I think kind of besides show writing, like a really kind of big dream of mine is to do like a big fiber art installation kind of showing or something.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes. I would really love to do that.
That's so awesome. Oh my gosh, it's gonna happen.
Yes.
You heard it. You heard it.
You heard it here first
You
on
heard it here first.
Manifestation Station.
That's gonna what a great way to end that corner.
Yes.
Anyway, I guess we have a new corner.
There we
now.
go.
It's gonna
That's
happen.
awesome. Like moving on to our next corner, which is the Would You Rather corner, job edition. So where we ask our guests which job related would you rather questions, and we always have a double question and an angel question, and I'm always in charge of being the double because I guess that's the role I was given. But here's mine. Would you rather work on a company that you're pretty okay with organization wise, but they constantly, like, you're a storyboard artist. On the last episode, they constantly ask you, or the last like check-in before it's due, they constantly ask you to do retakes, like a bunch of boards that you have to redo.
Okay.
And it's just like over and over again, and you're just like, what? It was fine last week, I have to do it again. Versus a company that asks more of you than what your position is, and they don't really appreciate all the hard work that you're doing.
Oh god. Both of those are awful.
That's why it's the double question.
Man, I guess I would prefer to do the second one where they don't value me. Mostly because I hate like constant revisions. That really
that's true.
That is something that really chafes me. I do not enjoy that. And I guess I would rather do more to try and get out of there faster than have to deal with constant revisions.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
That's true. And just be like, this is more for my portfolio, and I'm gonna find a place that will treat me better than what you guys are doing.
Just like highlight it super hard in like resumes and stuff, and be like, look at all this stuff I did.
I did all of it.
Yeah. Honestly.
That sounds great. We love turning it around.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's my turn for the angel question.
Aw.
But would you rather be a character designer for a show set in a frog amphibian world, or a story artist for the next hit worm show?
Oh my goodness. I think I would love to. The next hit worm show, I think, would be really good.
Oh my god!
I think worms win on that one.
I would love to see how you would make it move, like through the scenes and like how it goes.
We
through
need a worm
daily
show,
life.
honestly. Have there
Yeah.
been
Yes.
I think we need a worm show.
I think the time is coming for worms to take over the scene.
Yeah, it's starting now.
Yeah.
I will join on this bug adventure. Like if it's not just worms,
Yes.
I'll join on the bug craze.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
But
man.
yeah.
If there's any worm show that is hiring and looking for a story artist, or just any show that is out there hiring for a story artist, please consider Nat.
Hello.
Because once those boards come out, baby, they are so
Thank
cute
you.
and so great. We love it.
Yeah, yay! Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always so much fun to talk to friends, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
It was such a
that's why I
blast.
like doing this. But yeah, where can people find you on the internet? Where can they hire you?
You can.
Yes.
My Twitter is. I don't know why I always have to Google this. Like it's my own. It's my own Twitter. I should know this. It is N Wyatt Al. That's NWYATT.
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter, and that is really. I have an Instagram. I don't really use it, but Twitter is my main spot, and my website is natalie-wa.com.
Yeah.
Yay!
Definitely, please, if you're listening to this right now, go to our Twitter and find our little post where we put all the links of Nat's stuff in the replies. Or if you're on Instagram, just go to the Instagram post where we put all the links. Find Nat's website and go on the website. You better be scrolling right now because it's so cool. You got worm people coming out and looking at you.
There's a little one all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, look for the little worm one.
Mm-hmm. Also,
if you see the little worm one, reply to the episode post with it in the screen.
No. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna link Nat's P Crew, and then everyone should reply.
Oh my gosh,
we want to see everyone's Nat P Crew because I will do a new one just for the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, we will make one to represent Hey Hire Us. Please reply to the Twitter post and with your little worm people,
with your
and
little
we will
worm,
like
Nat
them.
worm world. But
Yes.
yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening to this episode. If you wanna follow us on our socials, we're at Hey Hire Us Pod on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes. If you want to support us financially, because we're almost at a goal to pay off for a year of podcasting.
Pay off our podcast debt.
Yeah. It's co-fi / Hey Hire Us Pod.
Yes,
Right?
co-fi.com
I always
/ Hey
forget.
Hire Us Pod. And if you wanna send us a message, say hi, email us at heyhirespodcast@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow us on our
thank
socials
you.
because for us, usually Abby and I are the ones who usually find and make the memes, but Nat is
Oh
meme
yeah, Nat's
master.
gonna make the meme.
And for the week of Nat,
I-
she will be providing
yes,
her own meme.
I will. I have like all these meme
You should-
templates set up on my computer.
Yay! You should be following us on our socials just because we always post like little comics and little tidbits and a quote from the guest. And yeah, we're gonna be retweeting the resources that we talked about, and I'll make a little post about the Discord on Twitter and Instagram. So definitely follow us on there and support us. And yeah. Thank you for listening, guys. Thank you, Nat.
Thank you.
for coming
This was really
and
fun.
blessing us with your presence. Please hire Nat. This is us as worms with a knife. We are at your throat. We are coming for you. Please hire Nat. She deserves
Thank
it.
you.
Anyway.
Yay.
Thank you guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
See you at the next episode.